Hey guys, it's Car, and today I kind of wanted to go over what is very clearly, in my opinion, the absolute worst class in ESO currently. And unfortunately, that's Necromancer from what I see right now. I think that Necromancer just provides so little capabilities in PvP right now that it is actually crazy the difference between that class and all of the other ones. If you compare it to something along the lines of, and this is all in PvP, again, this is going to have absolutely nothing to do with the PvE side of this game. I don't really know much about the PvE side, so I don't really ever want to speak on that because, I'm not going to talk about something that I don't know. This is just from my experiences in spending a lot of time in PvP and spending a lot of my time in Cyrodiil, Battlegrounds, Imperial City, stuff like that. So I really think that Necromancer is without doubt the worst class in the game right now because of a multitude of reasons. The amount that it's been nerfed and changed in the last few months and years is honestly, it's just a shell of its former self, and it is pretty bad. It's got really no class identity in the slightest nowadays. If you want to compare it to something along the lines of DK, DK has insane amounts of overall damage, healing. You have a nice burst heal with DK with that coag. You have insane damage if you use an ultimate like Corrosive, or even Leap is a fun ultimate to use. Something like that is crazy cool. Even Standard has a lot of utility on DK. But for Necromancer, there's really not much going for it in the PvP side of the game. If we look at our skills, Pestilent Colossus, it was really nice when bombers were still a thing, but really Necro bombing is dead beyond belief right now because they just don't have any burst damage anymore. So in my opinion, this is just a dead ultimate for PvP because you can just absolutely walk out of it. It's a single target stationary, not single target, I'm sorry, it's just a stationary ultimate. So to me, that's just not a good ultimate to use in PvP anymore. Again, Bone Goliath is just, it's kind of a meme at this point. I see somebody go in that and I just wait for 20 seconds. It's kind of just it's a way to stalemate a fight and just stall it for a little bit longer, and then I continue to fight them afterwards. It really doesn't do anything. I guess you could do a bash build kind of with it, but honestly, I just felt like it's just lacking a lot. And the last one, Reanimate, I never really use this ultimate because to me, I'm always on the small scale side of PvP. I understand why this is necessary. I understand why people run this, especially if you have a different playstyle than me. If you run with more people and, a few people are dead on, in a single area, using this kind of brings them back and cuts a lot of the time with rezzing down. So I understand why this ultimate is in the game. It's something new. And honestly, I'm cool with this one. I really don't have much complaints. It's cool to have kind of a support ultimate as well. So honestly, I know it's probably against a lot of people's opinions, but I'm fine with this ultimate. As much as it annoys me, I'm fine with it. It goes with the class, and it's understandable. Necromancer is about bringing things back from the dead, and this is understandable. I get it. But moving on, I feel like there's just absolutely no damage, and it's just a complete support class. The amount of damage abilities that this has is unfortunately incredibly pitiful. Flame Skull, to use that in PvP, I would just laugh at somebody. That is just a terrible ability to use. And to me, if I get hit by one of those, I just look at it and I'm like, yo, what are you doing, dude? Like, stop it. Like, crazy. It's terrible, like, this ability. It does absolutely no damage, so I don't see the point of this. And then Blast Bones is the exception. It's a little wonky sometimes, yeah, but it does hit really hard, and I can't even argue with that. Blast Bones is a really cool ability, can't argue. That's one of the really cool things that Necromancer does have going for it. And then Avid Boneyard is just a complete shell of its former self. Ever since the Harmony nerf, I feel like this is just an absolute pitiful ability. I've seen people try to hit this ability on me lately, ever since the new patch, and honestly, it is just, I get sad. It's so bad. Ever since they changed Harmony, so if you look, Harmony is now so different. Activating a synergy just restores more resources now, so there's really no point to even run the Harmony anymore. It's just restoring resources. So honestly, what's the point at this point? I just don't really see it being too necessary at all, and honestly, I really just don't like it. It's just not really that great of a jewelry skill or trait line anymore. So I don't really like that. And then Skeletal Mage. This just does absolutely negative damage in PvP. I see the value of it for PvE. You're attacking NPCs, you're attacking stationary targets. I get it. It's a good skill for PvP or PvE. I apologize, I'm talking a lot. But overall, I just don't see the point of this in PvP. So far, out of the 4 skills we've gone over, we've got one that works for Necromancer in this one skill line. Yeah. And then also Shocking Siphon. This is just going to be an ability that just is going to attack people. It's just going to be in a stationary target, and it's a small little area too. So I don't see the point of that in the slightest, honestly. So if we look at this right here, we unlock Shocking Siphon. We just put that on our bar real quick. I'm just going to wait for my armor buff to go down. It's just not a good ability because you could just walk right past it. You do that, people are just gonna walk right past it. It's a cool looking ability, yeah, to have that, but dude, if I ever saw that in the ground on PvP, I would just walk around it. It's really not that hard. So for me, out of the entire Gravelord skill line, there's one good PvP skill, and that's it. So as far as damage goes, so in my opinion, that's not great. Like for me, on my DK, my entire front bar is just full of class skills. My Templar, full of class skills. My Sorcerer, class skills. My, what else do I have? Nightblade, that's got a few class skills on there as well. It's got at least 3 class skills on there. And then on top of that, we're also using on something like Warden. That's using a lot of skills as well. So that's just showing the difference between Necromancer and all the other classes. This just doesn't have an identity currently, and it's just sad. Death Scythe, I wish was a really cool. It's a really cool looking ability. This thing is awesome looking. You kidding me? I get to bring out a scythe. That'd be so cool if that was actually useful in PvP. I would be maining Necro if I could just scythe people down. But the damage on it is just non-existent. The regular tooltip is 5k. I mean, I don't really have much damage out right now, so it doesn't matter. But overall, that tooltip is just not great. And I'm just not the biggest fan of this ability. I would love to be able to use this, don't get me wrong, but I just think that the utility for that is just not there, even though I wish it was. The armor, cool. You need a major resolve buff. That's awesome. It's great that this class has that. Awesome. No complaints about that. Necrotic Potency, that's cool. It's a cool ability, getting more ultimate, being able to get some heals down. Awesome. Bone Totem, I'm not the biggest fan of this ability because a lot of the other classes have regular unblockable CCs that are awesome. So something like Fossilized on DK, instant cast, unblockable, easy. Same thing with Sorcerer, instant cast, unblockable. Same thing with, honestly, Templar. It's slightly different, but Javelin nowadays, it goes through a block. So that's unblockable now too. Nightblade has Fear. I know it's a little different, but I mean, I don't know. I know a lot of people don't use that, but Nightblade has a little bit of a different playstyle. Same thing with the Warden with Arctic Blast. Not really the same thing. But overall, as you can see, this is just going to be a stationary Fear or a stationary CC that anybody with a brain is just going to walk outside of. Like, they're not going to go into this. There's no point to go into that. So to me, I find this to be a useless ability. And there are so many just useless abilities on Necro for PvP that I just wish that they would be changed, because it could be so good, this entire class, but it's just not utilized, and it's unfortunate as the most recent class to ever come out on ESO. Also, Grave Grasp, it's a really cool ability. It's got potential. Having 3 different patches of skeletons come out, it's awesome. It does like CCs, snares, all that stuff. It's cool. I like the idea of it. I don't really use it too often, but I understand the point of it. Resistant Flesh, cool. Burst Heal, I get it. Awesome. Great, awesome, nothing to argue about. Having an Purify for yourself on this, awesome ability, cool. Life and Death, I've never used that, so I can't really talk about that. Spirit Guardian, great, and I don't really want to say great heal, but a lot of mitigated damage on that, awesome, great time. And Braid Tether, again, a nice little heal. So basically 4 of the 5 abilities in this one skill line are really good. The Living Death one, really good. 4 out of the 5, awesome. But that basically comes down to Necro being a support class and not a damage class. you can't really do anything with that if you're going to try and go offensive. So that's truly unfortunate. I wish that you could do more with that, but you just kind of can't. So Necro is unfortunately really relegated to using a lot of weapon skill lines and such, and the different guild skill lines. So it's going to have a lot of Destro abilities or dual wield abilities, something like vampire abilities like Eviscerate, since that's probably the best form of damage you can get on here. Something like Fighters Guild, where you can use the ultimate on there, because I don't really see any of the ultimates on Necromancer being better than Dawnbreaker, unfortunately. Degeneration is going to be your buff because you don't have a built-in Major Brutality or Sorcery buff. So it's just stuff like that I wish could be slightly better, but it's not. So in my opinion, what I would change about the build, about Necromancer, to make it even semi-viable, I would kind of rework Flame Skull. I would make it so that it's not just a clunky little single target damage from his distance. I would try to make this a more useful, spammable, but not something OP so that everybody's going to spam this, because getting hit by 10 of these from range is not going to be fun. Nobody likes that. But overall, I think if you slightly adjust this to maybe the damage being increased or something, maybe even multiple Flame Skulls going out at the same time. I know that that's one of the I know that this one's something that ricochets to some, but overall, I wish that it was like multiple enemies or something to make it better. Avid Boneyard is just useless now that Harmony's gutted. And honestly, what I would also love to do, I would love to see Scythe buffed in a way so that you can actually use that as a nice spammable and people are getting actually hit for that. Something like Whip on DK, have that be Necromancer's Scythe. You tell me that wouldn't be completely so satisfying to see Scythes going out in PvP? That'd be so cool, and I would love that. I would absolutely love for this class to be buffed. Guys, this is coming from a place where my first 2 5-stars when I switched to PC, they were Necromancers. It was a Magic Necromancer and a Stam Necromancer. And this Necromancer right here is a Legate grade 1, so I'm not acting like I don't play Necromancer. I've played the hell out of this class, and I love it so much. But the current state of it is kind of bad, and with Arcanist coming out, I just don't see it getting any better because I feel like all the attention is going to be on Arcanist, so that's kind of unfortunate. But these were kind of my thoughts on this class. I wish that it was a little bit better. Sorry that it was kind of just like monotone and me just complaining the entire time, because this is a really cool class. I like the idea of it. I just wish it was slightly better. It just feels like it's been neglected for so long, and it's been like, it feels like there's absolutely no care going into it, and it's sad. I wish it was better, but hopefully we see more changes from ZeniMax in the future. I would love to be able to just help them with any specific changes, because I feel like, from my perspective at least, I like to be able to see things from every PvPer's perspective. I know that not everybody plays like me, and I know that I don't play like everybody else. But if you can find a happy medium ground where a class is playable by multiple people and is actually fun, I think that that's what matters in the game, and I think that's why a lot of people run Dragonite right now. That's why a lot of people run Nightblade right now. I even see a lot of Sorcerers right now because it's a fun class to play. It feels satisfying. But there's absolutely nothing satisfying currently about Necromancer, and I wish that there was, but currently there's nothing. It's got no class identity. It's got nothing going for it right now, and I just wish it was better. And I just hope that we see sometime in the next year buffs to Necromancer, because with Arcanist on the horizon, I just see that being the sole priority of ZeniMax. So hopefully things change, but I guess we'll just have to see. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you guys staying until the end. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so. It is free, and I would appreciate that tremendously. Also, liking the video helps me so much. Guys, let me know your thoughts on the video. If you agree with my comments or disagree with anything, let me know in the comments below. I'm always down for a little civil conversation. We don't have to agree on everything. This is just my opinion. This is just everything that I've noticed in PvP recently, so I hope that you guys, enjoyed. But that's it from me, guys. I hope that you guys were really open to all the opinions here, and if not, that's great too. I don't really, everybody's got their own opinions. That's fine. But guys, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you guys on the next video. Later.